What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little different. We got Pippen versus Jordan, the saddest beef in NBA history. Look, I noticed there's been a bunch of stuff on Facebook and Google about, like, for some reason Pippen's like feuding with Michael, and I don't know if this is that one, but this one says the saddest beef in NBA history is a year ago, so I think this might be another part of the beef or the start of the beef. Y'all can let me know when it started or whatever, but it's kind of weird to see two players who played together and did all these accomplishments together, and they needed each other, you know what I mean, and have beef like this. And I think is Pippen dating Michael's daughter? I can't remember. Anyway, yeah, so y'all let me know what the story started from or something like that. So yeah, let's just get into it. All right. Okay. Pippen versus Jordan, the saddest beef in NBA history. Let's do it.
Do you think that Michael Jordan would be as successful without you?
No.
In 2009, when Michael Jordan entered the Basketball Hall.
Okay. What? He said it so fast too. He said, "Do you think Michael Jordan be is successful without him?" I mean, if you think about it, I think Michael would, of course. But when did Michael start winning? Was it after Pippen? Like when Dennis Rodman and them joined it, or Pippen? Like, where's his argument? Maybe it's probably going to show it. Yeah, I need to just.
Do you think that Michael Jordan would be as successful without you?
No.
In 2009, when Michael Jordan entered the Basketball Hall of Fame, the first person he mentioned and thanked was Scottie Pippen.
You never just saw me, saw Scottie Pippen.
Next year, it was Michael who presented Scottie to the Hall of Fame. When Pippen worked on ESPN and had to do a LeBron versus Jordan comparison, Pippen said this:
And there's no game that I would ever play in and pick LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
But this was in 2018, when Scottie and Michael's relationship.
I know he's about to say a bunch of stuff, but why? Why did he go from one thing to saying something and then change it later? There had to be something that started this feud, like relationships, or that relationship I was talking about, maybe his daughter or whatever it is. Has to be something in the middle of this, because I thought Jordan and Pippen were cool. But it's just weird.
LeBron James over Michael Jordan.
But this was in 2018, when Scottie and Michael's relationship seemed like the happiest marriages. While Jordan was known to be a harsh teammate who bullied players and even punched Steve Kerr in the face, we never heard those kinds of stories about Scottie. And then came the pandemic, and the sporting world stopped.
He has just tweeted within the past 2 minutes that the NBA is suspending the season.
Deprived of anything to cheer for, Netflix offered a 10-episode salvation for all sports fans. It was The Last Dance, a long-awaited documentary about the last season of the Bulls dynasty, with behind-the-scenes footage nobody had ever seen before. And when the documentary came out, that's when Scottie's and Michael Jordan's relationship started to change. See, The Last Dance wasn't really a basketball documentary.
Hold up, I did hear something about The Last Dance, that I'm guessing Michael said some things in there that made a lot of people mad, like including Isaiah Thomas, you know, and I know they've always had like some kind of beef because of the Dream Team type deal and all that stuff, but I did hear that he made a lot of people mad by some of the stuff he said in there because, you know, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan, so he's probably going to be a little arrogant. I haven't seen Last Dance. I might react to it. Y'all let me know if y'all want to see that or not. Yeah, so I think he made a lot of people mad through it or something. I'm guessing Pippen was one of them. So that answers one of my questions.
Relationship started to change. See, The Last Dance wasn't really a basketball documentary. It was more like basketball was just a means to an end, and where historic NBA events were used to tell a preset narrative. And that narrative was to glorify the cult of Michael Jordan and his place as the basketball GOAT. The Last Dance presented basketball in a way that can be understood by non-basketball fans and casuals. It was directed in a way that puts an individual over a team, which is not surprising, considering that director Jason Hare needed Jordan's approval to make the film, and that Jordan's presence in the film was conditioned by his control over the content. The Last Dance minimized the roles of Jordan's teammates, not properly explaining that MJ had by far the best supporting cast in the NBA. The documentary never mentioned that Steve Kerr was the most accurate three-point shooter of all time, that Horace Grant made 4 all-defensive teams, or that Tony Kukoc...
I can see why it made some people mad right here. Steve Kerr, the most accurate three-point shooter of all time. As an important part of the 3 championships from 1996 to 98. Kerr hit them in the regular season. They were 40 on dang. Yeah, so it is kind of weird that they wouldn't put some of that stuff in there because it's important. And if they didn't put all that stuff, that means they made the Last Dance documentary about Michael just being the face of the NBA, the face of the Bulls. They didn't care about anybody else on the Bulls. That's just my opinion, though. I don't know.
Point shooter of all time, that Horace Grant made 4 all-defensive teams, or that Tony Kukoc was the best European player and the most versatile power forward in the NBA. The doc barely mentioned a defensive ace Ron Harper, and they completely failed to say a single thing about center Luke Longley. Dennis Rodman got a lot of screen time, but much less as the best rebounder in NBA history, and more of a party animal that Jordan needed to drag by the ears from Carmen Electra's hotel room. But the player who was most heard about the whole thing was Scottie Pippen, and it's not hard to see why.
Yeah, I had a ruptured tendon in my ankle, and I decided to have surgery late because I was like, you know what? I'm not going to my summer up trying to rehab for a season.
Scottie Pippen of the Bulls will be out for 2 to 3 months.
What Scottie was trying to do was trying to force management to change his contract, and Jerry wasn't going to do that.
MJ called out Pippen as being selfish for delaying surgery.
Let the ad go first.
That season.
First of all, it's kind of weird for Michael to say there. How does he know what Scottie Pippen's intentions were? You know, how does he know that? And that's kind of weird that he was saying that, because Scottie said that he did it so he didn't want to go through rehab throughout the summer. So it's weird. I don't know. It's just weird for Michael to say that. So
MJ called out Pippen as being selfish for delaying surgery. That season, Jordan was making $33 million, while Scottie was earning just $2.7 million. While the second episode of the documentary did center around Scottie and his unbelievably hard road to the NBA, in the end, the focus of the narrative quickly returned to MJ. And despite being so Jordan-centric, The Last Dance was a successful project because it achieved 3 goals. It managed to entertain and occupy the sports world in the biggest absence of sports since the 1860s. It served as a nostalgia for the people who lived through the Bulls dynasty, and it revitalized the interest in Jordan among the younger generations. If we look at the doc as an entertaining story for the masses, The Last Dance absolutely killed and knocked it out of the park. But in terms of explaining basketball nuances and strengthening relationships between the Bulls players, The Last Dance backfired completely. In May 2020, after the last episode aired, Jordan sent a rare text to Scottie Pippen. "What's up, dude? I'm getting a word that you're upset with me. Love to talk about it if you have time." Pippen did call him back and explained his displeasure with how the rest of the Bulls were portrayed. When asked about it, Scottie backtracked a little bit. "This documentary has not changed our relationship. We will be friends forever. I told Michael I wasn't too pleased with The Last Dance. He accepted it. He said, hey, you're right. That was pretty much it. But it wasn't..."
Okay, yeah. If Scottie has to say it hasn't changed our relationship and stuff, deep down it does if he has to say that. You know what I mean? Like, he went out of his way to say that part. That means he's pretty upset, like, really upset. He's not pleased about The Last Dance. Yeah, anyway, I was just saying, if he has to say that, then he's pretty upset, and it probably means the opposite. And he just wants to see Michael Jordan's reaction to that.
He accepted it. He said, "Hey, you're right. That was pretty much it." But it wasn't it.
That is a weird.
And this comment aged badly really quickly.
Back.
In 2021, Pippen started to unravel his feelings about Jordan, issuing a series of comments during the promotion of his autobiography titled Unguarded. Scotty told a story about how Jordan used to cheat him out of $100 during each Bulls game by bribing the staff to tell him who was going to win Jumbotron races. During a GQ interview, Pip accused Jordan of being selfish for leaving the Bulls to pursue a baseball career.
What did you think when he said he was going to go play baseball?
Yeah, it was a big decision, but it was a selfish decision, but it was kind of who Michael Jordan was.
Implying,
first of all, they can't make a big deal about him being selfish, because it is being selfish. He's doing it for himself. So isn't that technically what selfish means? He did that for himself. He's not going to play baseball for Scotty. He's not playing baseball for Phil Jackson. He's doing it for himself and his dad. So you can't get mad at him for being selfish there, because it is selfish, but it's a good selfish. It's not, you're doing it for yourself.
Selfish decision, but it was kind of who Michael Jordan was.
Implying that he spent too much time grieving the death of his father. Scotty also downplayed Jordan's flu game, saying that he didn't receive any praise for playing the 1998 finals with a herniated disc. But the biggest criticism about Jordan the player was when Pippen said that the Bulls didn't win 6 rings because of MJ, and that they did it in spite of him. Seeing again how poorly Michael treated his team.
I'm so sorry, I'm pausing a lot, but what the heck do they mean by... You can't win 6 rings in spite of him. Michael was a big part of it. Probably the biggest part of it. Scotty helped. Everybody else helped. Steve Kerr shot that last shot. But Jordan averaged a lot of points. If he didn't have those points, where would they be? Jordan did a lot. A lot of last-second shots. A lot of buzzer beaters. He did a lot. There's a couple rings I'm pretty sure he won by a buzzer beater, didn't he? Oh, the last one, I think.
Did it in spite of him. Seeing again how poorly Michael treated his teammates, I cringed, as I did back then. We didn't win 6 championships because he was tough with the guys. We won in spite of his bullying. We won because we played team basketball, which hadn't been the case my first 2 seasons when Doug Collins was our coach.
That's what he meant. Okay.
In his book, Scotty also changed his perspective on the LeBron versus Jordan debate. I may go as far as to say Mike ruined basketball. In the 80s on the playgrounds, you'd have everyone moving the ball around, passing to help the team. That stopped in the 90s. Kids wanted to be like Mike. And Mike didn't want to pass, didn't want to rebound, or defend the best player. He wanted everything done for him. That's why I always believed LeBron James was the greatest player this game has ever seen. He does everything and embodies what the game is truly about.
Where's the 6 rings? Where's the 6-0 champion? That don't make any sense. You can't do... Nah, that don't make any sense. Like, I understand what they're saying when they're saying Jordan ruined the game. Yeah, people probably passed more back then because of Larry and Magic before Michael came in. And yes, everybody wanted to be like Mike, but it's understandable if Mike thought he was it. You know what I mean? Because he was. He was it. He came in the game and no one could stop him. So, of course, he was going to be like, he wants everything done for him because he's the king, not LeBron. You know what I mean? And if you have to say that about Michael, you got to say the same thing about Curry, because Curry came in and ruined the game too, if you want to talk like that, because now we got a bunch of high schoolers shooting half courts for no freaking reason, and it's making everybody else mad, especially when they miss them. I mean, you got a lot of them making them, but it's not an accurate shot. Maybe for Curry, but it's not an accurate shot for most people. So you got to say the same thing about Curry if you're going to say it about Michael. I don't mean to sound biased or anything. This is unbiased. I'm just saying there's more to it than that. There's not just that.
The rest of the book was even more critical about Jordan and The Last Dance, saying that every episode was the same. Michael on a pedestal, his teammates secondary, referred to as his supporting cast. Michael could shoot 6 for 24 from the field, commit 5 turnovers, and he was still, in the minds of the adoring press and public, the errorless Jordan. Scottie was also pissed that Jordan received $10 million for his involvement in the documentary, while he and the rest of the Bulls got nothing. Pip wasn't done there, and he also unloaded on...
That kind of sucks, though. That kind of sucks. I mean, Michael gets $10 million. They get nothing. You got to give them something, dude. And weren't they in the documentary? Did they talk in the documentary stuff? Or they just use their old interviews or something and throw them in there? Because they should get paid for that, too. So, I don't know much about it. So, y'all let me know if y'all know anything.
On Phil Jackson during an interview with Dan Patrick.
No, I understand that, Scotty. I'm just going by what you said. You said you need to read between the fine lines. It was a racial move to give Tony Kukoc a rise. So,
well, I mean, if you knew that Scottie Pippen had been with the Bulls from '87, wouldn't you give Scottie Pippen one opportunity to get a last-second shot without Michael Jordan?
But have you talked to Phil about this? Because by saying a racial move, then you're calling Phil a racist.
I don't got a problem with that.
Scottie took shots at Charles Barkley, calling him not dedicated enough to win a title, and Isaiah Thomas, whom he called a dirty player. However, we do agree that The Last Dance was overly centered on Jordan, and that there is a lot of truth in Pippen's words about the documentary. We can't escape the feeling that Scottie overreacted. In the doc, MJ still said there is no Jordan without Pippen. The Last Dance covered how underpaid Pippen was, and his success as the leader of the Bulls without Jordan. Phil Jackson called Scottie the second best player in the league, and the doc mentioned Pippen guarding Magic in the '91 finals instead of Jordan, a key moment that turned the series around. So for Scottie to be going on this kind of...
I mean, I do kind of understand where Scottie's coming from a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to be the second guy or the last guy, even if you're not first or last, right? But it's hard to be the second guy. I understand that completely, especially if you're as good as Scottie Pippen is, because Scottie Pippen is really good. Like he's not bad, and I've seen you see him play out there, and he's doing stuff that Michael's doing. Like he's dunking the crap out of it. He's doing a lot of stuff Michael's doing. So I can understand that. And Michael might actually hold him down just a little bit just because Michael's Michael. And without Michael, Scottie can shine more. But without Michael, Scottie didn't win, did he? He went to Blazers, right? Trailblazers or something. I understand where he's coming from, though. It's hard to be that second guy. And being portrayed as that supporting cast that you've always been portrayed by, because you've always been portrayed as like the sidekick to Michael. So yeah, I get that part. So yeah, but saying Michael didn't do anything or isn't as good as he is, or he's overrated or anything like that, which they haven't said, but kind of seems like he's saying that. That's bullcrap, because Michael wouldn't be as popular as he is if he wasn't as good as he is.
Jordan, a key moment that turned the series around. So for Scottie to be going on this kind of media rampage, it just feels like a bit too much. We understand that it's hard to be the Robin to Jordan's Batman and live constantly in his shadow, and then relive that all over again in the documentary. But after the dust settled and all the insults had landed, it sounds like Pippen was just trying to say outlandish quotes to sell more copies of his book. And throughout all of Pippen's badmouthing, Jordan never said another word publicly. There was no statement, trash-talking, or even acknowledging that Pippen suddenly turned into his biggest hater. It was only a sign that all the bridges were burned and that their relationship was broken beyond repair. To add insult to injury, in 2022, MJ's son Marcus Jordan started dating Scottie's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen. which
That's what it
certainly
was.
didn't feel good for him.
That's what it was. His son was dating Scotty's ex-wife. First of all, that's tough. Right there. That could be a secret, one of the secret reasons Scotty's doing all this. It could just be getting back at him for that crap. Throw no shade at him for dating Scotty's ex-wife, which it is weird because of their Scotty and Jordan's relationship that you would even go after her in the first place. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, so that's what it was, not daughter.
Started dating Scotty's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen, which certainly didn't feel good for her ex-husband. Wherever Scotty looked, Jordan was sticking it to a Pippen, and it seems like his anger towards MJ will not stop anytime soon.
Oh, that is wild. That's a wild video right there, because, like, how does it go from y'all probably being best friends when y'all played? I know he's harsh on his teammates, but I don't think he was that harsh on Scotty, because Scotty was good. I think it was more harsh on other people that needed that harshness, I guess. You bring someone down and then bring them back up. Some people just can't come back up. That is crazy. How did it come to this, right? Pippen and Jordan. It's always been Pippen and Jordan. It's not Pippen and Steve Kerr, which Steve Kerr's part of this, but it's always been Pippen and Jordan. It's never been Pippen and Kerr or Pippen and Harper or Jordan and Harper or Jordan and Kerr, So how did it come to this? I know he got some good points on it, but I know a lot of it just seems like Pippen is doing a lot of it out of anger. The statements he's saying is definitely out of anger because he was saying stuff that would seem like Jordan wasn't a good player or, stuff like that they didn't even need him, which they did. They definitely needed Jordan. I mean, Jordan would not be the GOAT. And there's like conversations about the GOAT comparison, and it's always Jordan at the top. So like, there's no way he would be that if they didn't need him. If they didn't need him, he would just be another Scotty, if you think about it. Because without Jordan, Scotty went to Trailblazers, I think. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, and didn't win. I think he played with Charles Barkley or somebody like that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry if I was a little harsh or anything like that. It's just weird, right? Yeah. Anyway, subscribe, like the video. I will post a lot more videos soon, and yeah, peace out.